Ladies and gentlemen, this is Tausif, and this is a new live stream that I'm starting. The time right now is 11:13 p.m. Central Time, so we're getting close to midnight. Give me 1 second, my friends. Yeah, okay. So, starting this live stream pretty late in the evening, uh, 11:13 p.m. right now in the Central Time Zone. And my friends, um, it is heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking. There's tragedy in Texas. Um, Massive flood. Okay, massive flood in Texas. So if you have been following the news, then you likely already know what is going on. There's tragedy in Texas, and my friends, it's a state we all love. Texas. We all love Texas. Um, Beautiful state, wonderful state. Texas is a leader in many things. You know, when people think of the United States of America, they think of Texas. Um, Truly wonderful state, big state, beautiful state, and it is heartbreaking that there's tragedy in Texas. Okay. And my friends, as I'm starting this live stream, if you are from Texas, if you're watching this and you are from Texas, um, please um, respond in the live chat. Okay. Tell me what part of Texas you are from. If you're watching this, I know that there are friends of this community right here, friends who participate in the live chat, who watch these videos, who are from Texas. We got friends from Texas. And if you are from Texas or you know somebody in Texas or you know a friend or a family member um, who live in Texas, let me know. Okay, we are praying for the people of Texas right now. Um, so Ricardo is here. Hello, Ricardo. Frank is here. Hello, Frank. Christian is here. Hello, Christian. Christian is saying you're in Houston. Okay, well, thank you, Christian, for um, um, participating in the live chat and sharing the fact that you are in Houston. Um, we are praying. Um, we are praying for the state of Texas. It's heartbreaking, you know. If you turn on the TV and you see those images, those video clips of the water, the flood, and the devastation and the destruction, no words to describe those images. Okay. And when you see a house being destroyed by flood, it's the house is a structure, right? It's a material structure. Okay, you see a house being destroyed by flood. The house is a material structure. Okay, the house has a door, has windows, walls. It's a material structure, it's property. But but there's a story behind each and every house, each and every structure. There's a story. Okay, a house, it's about a family, or it's about an individual who lives there. Okay, it's about that person's life. It's about the memories in that house, on that property, that a person has. And it's about a person's belongings, and person's life and property. And so it is devastating. It is devastating when we see a house being destroyed. And imagine how many houses have been destroyed or are being destroyed. My friends, give me 1 second. All right, I'm going to be back. Sorry, I'm back. Sorry for the interruption. I see Evelyn is here. Hi, Evelyn. And there are others who are here. Uh, okay, did I miss greeting anyone? Okay, I'm sorry if I missed greeting you. So, as I was saying, you know, a house, you look at it as a property, but there's a story behind every house. There's a story behind every building, okay? And you have to think about the impact on human lives, and it's heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking. Um, as of now, and I checked this uh, a short while ago. The number may have changed. 82 people have died. 82 people. 82 people have died. Okay, 82 lives lost because of the flooding in Texas. And, you know, people are afraid that that number is going to rise, okay? Because I remember when that number was below 50, and then it crossed 50, then crossed 60, then crossed 70, then crossed 80. Now that number is 82. 82 lives lost, 82 precious lives lost. And, people are afraid that the number is going to be higher than 82. And many people are still missing. Many people are still think about a family um, that is worried about a family member, m- being missing. You don't know where your loved one is. You don't know where your, the husband is, or the wife is, or the child is, or the parent is. Just pick a family member, and just think about what the family goes through, what a family goes through when they learn that their loved one is missing. And there are many missing people still. Okay, the numbers are changing. Okay, I mean, hour by hour the number is going to change. Okay, um, and this flood has really shocked the entire country. Okay, so this is in Kerr County, Texas, Central Texas. Um, and you listen to the various experts, and you listen to the various analysis on what happened. Okay, how did such a massive flood take place? Okay, was there any warning beforehand? How did people react to the warning? Was there any notification? How much time did people have to react, to take action? What exactly happened? How much did the water rise, and in what span of time? And there are all these questions. I see our friend AC Cruz just joined. Evelyn is here. Evelyn is here. AC Cruz is here. Jet is here. Thank you so very much. Evelyn is from Vegas. AC Cruz is from Arizona. Jet is from Pennsylvania, if I'm not mistaken. Jet, you are from Pennsylvania, right? Remind me again. Yes, you are. I think so. Um, Freshly is here from New York. Freshly, good to see you. Thanks for being here. So Jet is saying yes. So Jet is from Pennsylvania. Jet, thank you for continuing to support this channel and for being a part of the conversation. Um, there are many questions that people have naturally, but we have to wait for the answers. We have to wait for the answers. This is a historic flood, and a very, very deadly flood. Okay, very, very deadly flood. Um, I'm just going to share with you some data, and this is something you can find. These are numbers that are being reported. Fast moving water, reportedly, rose 26 feet on the river. 26 feet in a span of 45 minutes. I'm going to let you process that information. What Jet just said. Yes, Jet wrote exactly. I think Jet wrote it the same time as I was saying it. So I was saying it and Jet found the information from news reports, I believe. So we both reported the same information. So thank you, Jet, for sharing that in the live chat window. 26 feet in 45 minutes. Think about it. I mean, the easy way to think about this is think about your height, how tall you are. Okay. Are you 5 feet? Are you 5 feet 2 inches, 5 feet 5 inches, 6 feet, 6.5 feet? I don't know what your height is. Think about your height and just use that as use that for comparison. Okay. If you're 6 feet tall, how high is 26 feet? So think about the water rising on the river, 26 feet in 45 minutes. Not an hour, not 2 hours, not 3 hours. 45 minutes, 26 feet in 45 minutes. Fast moving water. And this is Central Texas. This is Kerr County, Texas. And how can anyone react promptly to that kind of a challenge? When you have a natural event, a disaster in progress, okay, and we see every year different disasters, right? In the United States, we see wildfires and we see flood, we see tornadoes and hurricanes. Hurricanes is a big one in the eastern part of the country. Hurricanes and in other parts of the world, they have major earthquakes. Major earthquakes happen, and also drought. Sometimes it's just there's no rain, it's dry, and that's also bad. It's just the opposite. When there's no rain and it's super dry, everything's dry, and the trees die and the plants die just because they're not getting water. So we see different faces of nature. We see different natural disasters, and there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do. We human beings, no matter how smart we are, how strong we are, no matter how intelligent we are, no matter how educated we are, no matter how, scientifically advanced we are, um, when it comes to dealing with nature, we are completely helpless. Completely helpless. Yes, there are things that humans can do to try to stay safe. I mean, we have warning systems, we have technology to monitor if there's any potential for a tornado. The alerts go out to people's phones. That happens quite a bit. Flash flood warning and so on and so forth. Tornado warning, take shelter. Um, but at the end of the day, there's nothing we can do really. We are helpless. Okay, we are helpless, and that is something we always have to keep in mind. That's something we always have to keep in mind. No matter what we do, we can never be more powerful than the forces of nature. We're not going to be more powerful than gravity. We're not going to be more powerful than that strong, massive gust of wind. Okay. And that heavy downpour and the cyclone and the hurricane, and the earthquake. right? So, you know, when there's water rising 26 feet in 45 minutes, how can people react to that? I mean, what would you do to react to that? I mean, it's so tragic. It is so tragic, that feeling of helplessness. Okay, and deadly flood. There's not enough time to evacuate. There's not enough time to move to safety, to go away further and further away from the rising water. People are helpless when faced with natural events. And right here in Wisconsin, we do see flash flooding. We have here in Wisconsin, far, far away from Texas, we have seen terrible flooding. Okay. I mean, I remember going back to 2018, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I was in Western Wisconsin, and let me share with you this. I was in Western Wisconsin, okay? I drove to Western Wisconsin, took Highway 14. You can look it up on the map in Wisconsin. So from Madison, I took Highway 14, went to Western Wisconsin, and after I got to my destination, um, I was informed that the same route that I took to get to my destination, they have closed, the highway at a certain point. Okay, why? Because of rising water. Water was rising so fast, they had to close the highway, so there was no way for me to drive back using the same highway that I took to get to my destination. And so, um, what did I do? I took a different route, went north, uh, got to the interstate, and took the interstate highway, you know, down to down to down, down to Madison. All right. So anyway, those who are not familiar with the Wisconsin maps and South Central Wisconsin, Western Wisconsin highways and roads, you're not going to understand this, but you can always look it up on a map. So, um, thankfully, I was safe. Okay, because I did not directly face rising water. Okay, so I went from this point to this point, and after I got to point B, they had to close a certain uh, pl- spot in the highway. Anyway, that flood was bad as far as I remember, but I safely made it back home. So thank God for that. Um, but still, it was very, very heartbreaking. I'm grateful that I was safe, but it's still very heartbreaking because there was tremendous damage in Western Wisconsin. Okay. Um, anyway, I think it was 2018. I may be wrong, but if I remember correctly. So we have seen tornadoes in Wisconsin. We have other problems. While we've seen wildfires, um, you know, as far as I can think, not as bad as the ones in California. Nowhere close to how bad things went in California. Um not as bad as the wildfires they have up in Canada, because we've I think we've talked about it before. The Canadian wildfires. We got all the smoke from the Canadian wildfires because the air blows in this direction and brings all the smoke. So that's a health hazard. But oh, our friend Marjorie from Canada is here. Hi, Marjorie. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. We were just talking about Canada, the wildfires in Canada. Anyway, so um, different kinds of natural disasters take place. And there's really nothing we can do. We can have early warning system, we can take precaution, we can, have safety plans, um, you know, but at the end of the day, we cannot stop the forces of nature. Uh, David Nichols is here. Hi, David. Thanks for being here, David Nichols. So, my friends, um, there will be questions about weather forecast, about warning system, about notifications, and it's going to require time to get all the answers. Fuzz is here. Hello, Fuzz. Good to see you. Um, that's Aaron, right? Aaron, if I remember correctly. So we got Marjorie from Canada. We got Aaron from Canada. Thanks for being here. Please, my friends, those who are joining from Canada, please pray for the people of Texas and anyone else from anywhere in the world. If you're watching this, please pray for the people of Texas. All right. Um, um, Lily is saying, "I've been gone a long time. Good to be here." Are you from northern Wisconsin? Is that what you're writing, Lily? Uh, let's see. My friends, please make sure that you're liking this video as you're joining. Okay, I would appreciate that. That helps us reach more people. Lily saying Northwest Indiana. Okay, sorry. You wrote NWI. I was thinking Northern Wisconsin, but it's Northwest Indiana. All right, thank you. So, my friends, uh, Governor Greg Abbott, Governor Greg Abbott of Texas declared Sunday, that is today. It's still Sunday, at least here in Central Time Zone. In the Central Time Zone, it's still Sunday. In the Eastern Time Zone, it's already Monday. But as I was saying, Governor Greg Abbott declared Sunday as a day of prayer across the state. But really, it's a day of prayer across the country, no matter what your faith, no matter what religion you follow. Please pray. We should all continue to pray for the people of Texas. Now, the White House posted the following, and I'm going to read this to you. The White House posted, the White House Faith Office asks you to join us in prayer for the precious lives lost in the Texas floods. Amidst this tragedy, our nation must come together to pray for the victims, their families, and the first responders conducting rescue missions to find those still missing. May God wrap his loving arms around all those in Texas. My friends, let us all pray. Let us continue to pray for the people of Texas. And yes, may God wrap his loving arms around all those in Texas. So many innocent children were affected by this. If you turn on the news, you will hear about Camp Mystic. It's an all-girls camp that was devastated because of the flash floods. And this is in central Texas. Kerr County, Texas. That region of the state is called Hill Country. Okay. I have been to Dallas. I have been to areas around Dallas. I have not been to Central Texas. I don't know if we have friends from Central Texas here. Give me 1 second, all right? All right. We're going to do one thing here. Mm, all right. All right, my friends. There are search and rescue operations going on nonstop. And it is not only Kerr County. Sadly, it's a tragedy. Tragically, there were deaths reported in other counties as well. So I was looking at a list and I saw that deaths were reported in Travis, Burnett, Kendall, Tom Green, and Williamson counties, according to reports. And reportedly, there's more rain that may be coming soon. So the danger is not over yet. The problem is not over yet. The crisis is not over yet. There may be more rain, and not just rain, but heavy rain. There may be more heavy rain coming. I think, there could be more rain. I don't know the timing, but between now and Tuesday, there could be more rain in that part of the country, which means that the danger is not over yet. There may be additional rounds of rain lasting into Tuesday. That is what is being told. What this means is that there could be more flooding. There's widespread devastation. Emergency responders are working hard. And you know what? We have to pray for the emergency responders. May God give them the strength. The emergency responders, those who are involved in the search and rescue operations, they are looking for survivors. They are looking for the missing people and anyone else who may be out there and in danger and in need of help. President Donald J. Trump signed a major disaster declaration for Kerr County. Signing this declaration means that FEMA and other federal resources have been activated to support emergency efforts. So the Trump administration is responding very swiftly because each and every minute matters. And so the president, Donald J. Trump, our president, Donald Trump, signed a major disaster declaration. And so FEMA and other federal resources have been activated. And President Trump may also visit the area very soon. It's still a very active emergency situation. And President Trump and the Trump administration in general, the Trump administration is working with other entities at the local and state level to help with the emergency response operations. And if you have not seen this already, then you need to take a look at what President Trump posted. He wrote, "Dear Governor Greg Abbott." That's how he started the post. And then he wrote in that letter, "I have declared a major disaster under the Robert T. Stafford Disaster Relief and Emergency Assistance Act for the state of Texas due to the damage resulting from severe storms, straight line winds, and flooding beginning on July 2nd, 2025, and continuing. And then the president goes on to write that he has authorized federal relief and recovery assistance in the affected area. The president goes on to write, he writes, individual assistance and public assistance will be provided consistent with the requirement that federal assistance is supplemental. Any federal funds provided under the Stafford Act for other needs assistance under Section 408 will be limited to 75% of the total eligible costs in the designated areas. Federal funds provided under Stafford Act for public assistance will also be limited to 75% of the total tangible costs. The Department of Homeland Security, Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, will coordinate federal assistance efforts and designate specific areas eligible for such assistance. The federal coordinating officer will be Mr. Benjamin Abbott of FEMA. He will consult with you, meaning with Governor Greg Abbott, and assist in the execution of the FEMA state agreement for disaster assistance governing the expenditure of federal funds. Sincerely, signed by President Trump. And then he also says, our wonderful Secretary Noam is available at all times. And thank God that we have such a wonderful Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem. If you agree with me that Secretary Noem is one of the best cabinet secretaries in the history of the United States, please let me know in the live chat. I was thinking earlier today that she is probably the best Homeland Security Secretary in the history of the department. Probably the best Homeland Security Secretary in the history of the department. And since DHS was first established, I think, she's the best. I think Kristi Noem is the best. And she is absolutely one of the best cabinet members in the Trump administration. And I think we can all agree on that. Give me 1 second, my friends. So President Trump is saying that Secretary Noem is available at all times. And you know what? The Trump administration is doing everything that they can in this situation. It's a multi-layer operation. You have the federal government, you have state government, you have local entities, and also there are many let me see some questions. Give me 1 second, my friends. So, as I was saying, different government agencies are responding, federal, state, local. But at the same time, there are many private organizations, many nonprofit organizations that are helping, that are coming forward to help those in need right now. People need food, people need shelter, people need warm clothes, people need, supplies, everyday supplies, everything from pillows to blankets to soaps and fresh clothes and you know basic necessities of life that people have lost. People need those. People need support, and there are many nonprofit organizations that are stepping forward to help. There are many people who are involved in providing relief to those who have been severely affected by these floods. And there are, um, we are going to see tremendous, um, you know, just compassion. People are kind. People are kind. People are by nature. People are kind. When they see somebody in danger, they feel an obligation to help. Okay, that's how we are as a country. That's how we are as Americans. When we see somebody in need, when we see somebody in danger, we want to help. We want to find out ways we can help. Some people can help with money. Other people can help by contributing their time, by volunteering. Some people, they provide material resources. Some people, you know they help out on the ground, and people provide food. There are many ways you can help. There are many ways you can help, and there will be, going forward, there will be many opportunities for people from all over the country to make a positive impact in helping those who have been affected by the flood. And we are going to see many, many people coming forward because, as I said, as a country, we are compassionate. We want to help people in need. Okay. So, you know, it's going to take a long time for people to heal because of the magnitude, the intensity of this natural disaster, the shock, the trauma that people have faced, the shock, the trauma that people are still going through. As I told you, this crisis is not over yet. And so it's going to take a while. It's going to take a long time for people to heal, to 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 recover from the physical pain and suffering, to recover from the emotional pain and suffering, to recover from the trauma and this nightmare that people faced and continue to face in Texas. This this massive flood, flash flood, and the disaster. It's going to take a long time for people to heal. And so people need support. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for Americans to contribute in some way, shape, or form. As I said, some people will contribute money, others will volunteer, others will provide different forms of material support, whether it's donating a pillow or a blanket or toys for the kids or books for the children to read or warm clothes, you know, soap, shampoo, whatever. I mean, the basic necessities, people will contribute, people will donate, and people will help out in any way possible. And there will be lots of opportunities. There already are for people to help out. And I think there are many organized efforts to provide relief to those affected by the flood. Let's see. Hold on. Mm, Give me 1 second, my friends. I'm trying to scroll back, but you know what? I don't have time to go through all the comments that are coming in, but there's one thing that I'm going to tell um, certain individuals who are you know trying to politicize this you know um, this very dangerous situation, this crisis. Um, you know, um, this is not the time um, for um, for spreading any kind of propaganda. Okay, so I know that there are certain individuals out there who like to blame Trump for anything and everything. Okay, and I'm not highlighting any particular name, but I do see that. I do see that. Not just here in the live chat, but even outside of the live chat, because I've been following social media. I've been seeing things that people have been posting. Um, you know, if there's a tragedy right now in Texas, there's a crisis, and like I said, it's an ongoing situation. The danger is not over yet. Okay, there may be more rain, there may be more flooding. People are still missing. So there's partnership right now between federal government, state government, local entities, as well as nonprofits, private sector, to provide assistance, to provide relief, to help. And there are certain individuals out there who are basically trying to come up with ways to blame the Trump administration. Oh, the Trump administration did this, and that's why we have this problem. This is absolutely ridiculous. If that's how you think, if that's your logic, if that's how your brain works, it is sad, and I don't know what to say. Okay, I mean, before blaming Trump for anything, just keep in mind, right after President Trump came to the White House for the second time, right after Donald Trump got sworn in, um, as the president for his second term, what did President Trump do? President Trump visited North Carolina. Remember that? He visited North Carolina to meet with the people impacted by Hurricane Helene. Remember that? Okay. Uh, President Trump visited North Carolina to talk to the people, to meet the people affected by the hurricane. One of the first things one of the first things he did after being sworn into office, okay, he visited the people whose lives were forever changed because of the massive devastation as a result of the hurricane. He went and he talked to those people. He saw the devastation. He extended assistance. He directed his administration to help, which the Biden administration failed to do. What the Biden administration could not do, the Trump administration prioritized doing that to help Americans devastated by hurricane in North Carolina. And then what did he do? Remember what he did after that? He visited California. He visited California because California, Los Angeles area, has also been devastated because of the fires that took place. Remember the fires? The fires that took place. So President Trump, he visited North Carolina, he visited California to talk to people, to talk to local officials, to talk to people on the ground, to hear from them directly, to hear their stories, and to provide assistance. So this is Donald Trump. And now there are some people over here trying to blame Trump, trying to blame. This is absolutely ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. It's okay to be political. Absolutely. I am a very, very political person, which is why I do these live streams and these podcast episodes. And, I write a lot. I'm always talking politics. All right. Always. You come and talk to me on a weekend. You talk to me on a Sunday afternoon or a Saturday evening. You know, you can talk to me about politics. I'm always ready to talk about politics nonstop. All right. Because that's something I'm passionate about. That's my life. I'm deeply involved in this, in politics, in understanding how society is governed, in understanding how government works, in understanding, the various institutions in society. I'm always learning about elections and candidates and the different ideas that are out there. I'm studying, I'm reading books, I'm reading articles. I'm keeping track of, legislation and rule making and this and that. I'm thinking about the electoral maps. I'm thinking about the different races, congressional races, Senate races, gubernatorial races. I'm thinking about the state assembly, the state senate, the different governors. I'm thinking about balance of power. Yeah, I talk about politics. I think about politics all the time. But you have to understand the situation, and you have to be able to understand when it's okay to talk about politics, which is most of the time, and when you have to keep politics aside and focus on, you know, the crisis that's in front of you. Right now, we as a country, we must be united in praying for the people affected by the flood. And as I said, it's an ongoing situation, and it is completely unacceptable, I think. I mean, you're free to say whatever you want. I understand freedom of speech, but you have to understand the situation. It's not okay to say, oh, it's because of Trump. Oh, Trump should have done this. Oh, the Trump administration failed to do this or to do that. No. The Trump administration is responding very promptly and helping in every way possible. Like President Trump said, our wonderful Secretary Kristi Noem is available at all times. What does that mean? What does that mean? That Kristi Noem is available at all times? It means that the Homeland Security Secretary is pretty much working 24/7, and she is there to do whatever she needs to do to help address this crisis in Texas. And so there are some folks who are trying to politicize the situation. No, you should not do that. Do not do that. Do not politicize this crisis. Do not inject politics into this. And if you want to blame the Trump administration, well, don't present inaccurate statements. Don't present false information just to try to make a political point. No. The reality is that the Trump administration is committed to helping those in need, to helping the people affected by the flood, to help the people affected by natural disaster. So I just blocked an individual because of completely unacceptable comment. All right. I mean, as I've said, I try to not block anyone. And I know there are people who come here and insult me, but it's not just about that. If somebody is here insulting um, one of our friends of this community, I'm not gonna allow that. Okay, I'm not gonna allow that. So if I notice something, I don't get to notice everything, um, because there are lots of comments coming in. Um, but I just blocked an individual whose name I'm not gonna mention. Um, I'm just not gonna do that. But you can probably see. Okay. Um, so um, anyway, yeah. All right. So yeah, it's not okay to inject politics into this just for the sake of coming up with a way to blame Trump. Don't do that. Okay. Um, I think if you analyze everything, if you do a fair assessment, you're going to see that President Trump is doing everything possible to help his administration. He and his administration, they are doing everything um, possible to help. So um, that's my assessment. That's my observation. All right, my friends, we are 54 minutes into the live stream. I am going to wrap this up, but what I'll tell you is that we are going to hear stories of bravery and courage as we get more information about the flood events, um, and how people reacted to the flash floods. We are already hearing different stories. People are saying how certain individuals acted extremely bravely. They put their own lives at risk to save others. Okay. And um, Evelyn, Evelyn, I'm guessing you noticed that I blocked that certain individual um, who was not behaving properly in the live chat. Okay. Um, I saw that comment unacceptable and I blocked that person. So Evelyn, I'm guessing you noticed that. Um, yeah. Joseph is saying we need more presidents like President Trump. Absolutely, I agree with that, Joseph. I agree with that. He's probably the best president in the history of the country. Truly, I mean, when I think of great presidents, I think of George Washington, obviously, and then Abraham Lincoln. um, John F. Kennedy, all right, um, Eisenhower. Eisenhower, truly one of my favorites. Truly one of my favorites, Eisenhower. Um, and Ronald Reagan, obviously, and Donald Trump. Yeah, yeah. There are other great presidents. Obviously, there are others. Eisenhower, I particularly like. Okay, Um, I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but I mean, Eisenhower, I really like President Eisenhower. Absolutely one of my favorites. Um, Truly, truly brilliant. Um, yeah. I mean, would you please write, if you're watching this, who's your favorite president? Who's your favorite president? Like, let me just, yeah, well, if you write Donald Trump, then write another name in addition to that. Because I know a lot of you think President Trump is the best. Yeah, he truly is. Um, so yeah, I Eisenhower, absolutely one of my favorites. Uh, Joseph is writing Washington, Lincoln, Reagan, Trump in that order. Okay. Um, all right. Okay. Thank you, Joseph, for responding. Okay, my friends, I'm gonna wrap up this live stream. Thank you so much for joining. Let us continue to pray for the people of Texas. All right, and we are going to hear many, many more stories of bravery. And I hope that the ones who are missing, I hope that they are found safe and sound. Traumatic experience, dangerous situation, but I hope that those who are missing are found, and I hope that um, they are safe and sound. All right, so let us continue to pray, my friends. Whatever your faith, whatever your religion, if you believe in God, please pray. Thank you so very much. All right, I'm going to wrap up this live stream. Thank you all for joining. And I'm going to be back again with more videos and more live streams. So please stay connected. All right. Thank you so very much. May God bless you all. Thank you, my friends. Thank you. And please let us continue to pray. All right. I'll see you soon. Thank you so very much. Thank you, my friends.